Hello everybody and welcome. I am Nolan Rodman, your host, Rodman's TV. This is episode 5, special episode we made to 5. Thank you all for subscribing and liking our channel and staying tuned. I have a very special guest with me today. This is Christopher Houk. He goes by Chris, only Christopher when he's in trouble. Sorry, he's not in trouble yet.
True.
I'll let Chris tell you a little bit about who he is and his ways in the wine world. Chris?
Appreciate it. My name is Chris Houk. I represent Moe & Hennessy's brands here in Washington, D.C. So everything from, obviously, Skyside, Cloudy Bay, Veuve Clicquot, Dom Perignon, Moët Chandon, Hennessy, Belvedere, lots of the very, very well-known, very large, big brands.
Chris is the guy you want to know in this town, for sure. And so we've picked some cool wines to try today. We've got a new vintage of Cloudy Bay, right?
That's correct. The 2020 vintage was outstanding in every way, shape, and form, except for the pandemic, which made it actually extremely difficult.
Yeah, so I was actually reading about that. Can you just briefly talk a little bit about that? Because it's very interesting. Nobody thinks about sort of the way that the wines get harvested and having to social distance in the vineyards and in the vinification process and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely, Nolan. It's just like everything else. You think it's fine until you get everybody together and you realize that the sorting table, where people stand shoulder to shoulder all the time to help sort the good bunches and the bad ones, and now you've got to get everybody 6 feet apart. You can't have people in the same tasting area. All of the different winemakers have to taste in different rooms at different times. It just spreads everything out. It's extremely challenging to try to obviously do anything, but especially make wine when it's such a concentrated, labor-intensive process.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into sort of behind the scenes in making wine, and sort of as we spread out our hands into more episodes of Rodman's TV, we'll hopefully get into some vineyards and show you guys some of the stuff that is required in winemaking. Having said that, let's get into this first wine. It's an exceptional vintage. All of the growing conditions were really good for this vintage. I'm very excited to try it. A lot of good reviews. This wine normally at your other typical stores will retail about $30. At Rodman's, however, we have this wine on sale for $19.99, and this is the Cloudy Bay, New Zealand Marlborough 2020 Sauvignon Blanc.
Cheers.
Cheers. Aromatically, this wine is so vibrant. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you're getting when you smell this wine?
Absolutely. The 2020 vintage was an outstanding vintage in Marlborough. Cloudy Bay is located on the northern part of the South Island of New Zealand, and the aromatics just really, really jump out. You get kaffir lime, just lots of grapefruit, tons and tons of citrus. It's juicy on the nose, which isn't normally something you associate with Sauvignon Blanc.
Vibrant. It's like fresh. It's got this beautiful kind of like I get like lychee and like a lime zestiness to it.
The flavors are extremely long-lasting on the palate, and it's balanced with a lot of that great New Zealand acidity, but it's not overpowering. A lot of vintages in New Zealand, sometimes, since it's so far south, they struggle to ripen a little bit, but the 2020 vintage and harvest was outstanding. The fruit was extremely ripe, beautiful growing season, so this is probably going to be the best Cloudy Bay you'll have in a long time.
Drinking really well. How would you pair this wine? When would you serve it, etc.?
Well, with whites and reds, for my mind, it's always the 20-minute rule. If you put your white wines in the fridge, take them out 20 minutes before you serve them, and vice versa with the reds, put them in 20 minutes before you serve them. That way, the wine has a chance to not be too cold. So temperature is a great impact on how the wine tastes. If it's too cold, the flavors just don't pop out at all.
Definitely.
With the reds, if it's too warm, it almost tastes loose and way too jammy, and it tastes warm and hot and alcoholic.
Yeah.
So you want to have enough of that warmth in the whites and enough of the chill in the reds to really balance the two. The Cloudy Bay Sauvignon Blanc will go great with any sort of shellfish. This is a perfect pairing with oysters. Oh gosh, anything fried will go really, really well. The acidity will cut right through that richness and the fat from being fried.
Yeah, you're making me really hungry right
now. Yeah, any seafood, anything from something fatty like salmon or very, very lean or rich like Houk. This is the perfect pairing for almost anything.
Probably one of my favorite wines we have in the store. One of the best values and sort of complex New Zealand Sauv Blanc. You see a lot of bulk wine in that area going out, but this wine is like beautifully complex and integrated and has such great fruit character. I think it's such a fantastic wine and such a spectacular treat, like on the palate. Having said that, let's move to the next wine. So here we have, I'll let you introduce it.
Absolutely. This is Skyside's 2018 Chardonnay.
So we'll note that this is a 2018 versus a 2020, and Chris can tell us why this is 18 is the current vintage for this wine.
Yes. Sauvignon Blanc is the cloudy base sees almost exclusively stainless steel fermentation.
And that's just to maintain freshness and the fruit in the wine.
Yes, the stainless steel is much, much easier to control temperature-wise. So Skyside, this is actually the what's formerly known as Newton's Red Label, Newton Winery out in Napa Valley. Now it is simply Skyside. It's been spun off. So we source our fruit from the North Coast, which is Napa Valley, Mendocino, Lake County, a couple others. But this does see a little bit of oak. Chardonnay is a little bit more of a grape that can actually handle oak. Sauvignon Blanc and oak are an unusual pairing. They work. This is a great blend of what California, especially the Napa area, Lake County, are about.
And I think that I was reading that this wine saw about 20% new French oak, and then it has some neutral oak, and that's going to give it some added texture to the wine and some more character and body.
Absolutely. The malolactic, a small amount of malolactic fermentation, not to get too nerdy like you were saying, but it takes a little bit of those harsh acids that are malic, and then you turn them into lactic, which are a little bit richer, a little softer.
Chardonnay is such a versatile grape. It grows in so many places, in so many regions, it has so many characteristics, it has so many types of winemaking. So it's really versatile, and this wine, when I just get so much like tropical fruit, stone fruit on the palate. And God, it's
got a little richness to it,
it's beautiful.
But it still has that bright, fresh fruit, and as well, it's very balanced. It's got lots of acid. Truly a middle-of-the-road California Chardonnay.
Yeah.
This will make people who prefer wines from Burgundy, or Bourgogne, as they now prefer to be called, and the people who like a lot of oak on their Napa Valley Chards.
The perfect middle ground wine, perfect for any picnic outside. What else does it pair with?
Honestly, any lighter fish. You could go definitely with poultry, any sort of roast chicken or turkey. This would be a beautiful, beautiful pairing with that as well.
I would definitely recommend this wine to anybody looking for like a nice New World Chardonnay. Can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so last but certainly not least in this lineup, something that I was looking forward to tasting all week long. I'll let Chris talk about what this wine is and sort of how it was made.
Absolutely. So this is the Skyside Cabernet Sauvignon. Again, same sourcing in terms of where we get our grapes from. Lake County, Mendocino, Napa, the whole North Coast region. And this is 76% Cabernet Sauvignon. Legally, you have to be at least 70. 75.
75, right?
And then there's some Petit Syrah, some Syrah, a little bit of Merlot in the mix as well to bring some of those bright, really, really gorgeous dark and black fruits. So that's what the other grapes are in there for. But this is a very, very good example of Napa area, North Coast area, California Cabernet.
So on the nose, this wine gives me a ton of complexity. It's layered with so many, blueberry, plum, sort of that
ton of blue and black fruits.
Yeah, like blackberry, and it's got this beautiful kind of jamminess to it. Also, I mean, it is like it's making me salivate just by smelling it. It like smells like it's gonna taste delicious. I'm actually really excited about tasting it.
I think it is. There's definitely a lot of body and structure to this. Some leather, a little bit of tobacco spice, a touch of cedar. This is something that on the nose, the fruit really jumps out at you, but on the palate, the fruit is incredibly well integrated, and you get that typical California Cabernet.
Yeah, so
the body, the balance.
While this is in my mouth, I'm I'm not like overwhelmed by how this wine is so tannic, or this wine is like bang hitting me, you know, like really hard in the face with so many California cabs, especially the younger vintages.
Yeah.
I just get that so much where I taste a wine and I'm like, oh man, like this needs to be decanted for a day, or like
I need
to taste this tomorrow after
Yeah.
it's been opened. And like this wine, we opened it and it's like already tasting great. I think it's going to open up even more and taste even better. Probably take it home for dinner and drink it. I would recommend this wine to anybody looking to get into a really good value in Napa and California Cabernet.
The wines that Moet Hennessy makes, the whole portfolio, they aim for very old world style and elegance, but with new world sensibilities in terms of treating the fruit properly. So the tannins on this are very, very fine and polished. So it's easy to drink right after you open it, but it still has that old world style and structure where it will get better as the longer it's open. So it's perfect now. It'll get even better the longer it sits in your glass.
Perfect, and it's going to get better. And you just, how do you beat that? I don't think you can.
No, I definitely can. I wish I knew how to make wine like you did.
Cheers.
Thank
you guys for tuning in so much. We got plenty more wines coming in the future. We're going to try and get out to some vineyards. We're going to try and get out to Skyside. We're definitely going to have Chris back on the program. We thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. It will be champagne.
It will be champagne next time you've heard it. Okay, we're going to make sure he sticks to that. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and cheers.